Well, hey there, campers. Welcome to Camp Video Games. This is a podcast that typically reviews video games and their multimedia adaptations. But today, we're talking Terminator 2, which is a movie that got adapted into a bunch of video games. I'm Junior Camp Counselor Sean, and with me is Junior Camp Counselor Josh.
Oh, hey there, campers. Speaking of Terminators, if one ever enters your life and offers out a helping hand, don't order him around to do things that are inappropriate. You know? Like, don't tell him to go rascal around on the playground and scare the children. Don't tell him to take upskirts of women as they go down the street. That's inappropriate. Don't have your Terminator. Just teach him fun things like how to say slang from your time period and how to do high fives.
Affirmative.
So, yeah, we are talking about what I describe as the most movie-ass movie of all time.
100.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Judgment Day.
It's the best.
Is this the best
End of podcast.
sequel in cinematic history?
It's one of the best movies in cinematic history. I would say sequel-wise, absolutely, this is 100% a level up. My very first thing in my notes is, even though Terminator was so culturally pervasive, I think by the time Terminator 2 came out, I don't know how much it like exponentially went up when this one came out. When you watch them back to back, because we have these past few weeks, you really realize like, oh, Terminator 1 is like a cult classic slasher film for sickos built on a budget, and Terminator 2 is the definition of a modern big budget action movie that unfortunately I think we're never going to get something quite like this ever again. There's just nothing of this scale and scope that is done without just filming 99% of it in a big blue room anymore.
Sure, yeah. And this is a movie that, I mean, this is 1991, and this movie perfected the use of CG before it was like commonplace.
Yeah,
and it's all in the masterful like selective usage of it, because there's a ton of like practical special effects throughout this film, and the CGI is never in the front and center except when it's the T-1000, really.
Yes, absolutely. The way that I mean, just looking at, I mean, diving right into the opening scene where we are shown the future war only a little bit in this one compared to the first one. The first film goes back to it twice or three times throughout. I forget, but it doesn't really matter. We just are shown how hellish the future war is. And the first movie is a lot more like tight shots of like all we had budget for was this one big explosive robot.
Yes.
And this one opens with just like future helicopters everywhere, tanks, Terminators, stuff is everywhere. All these big practical effects that are, I think some of it's being composited with like miniatures in the background and real people in the front. And then like laser blasts going off, combining all of the best special effects into one big bombastic opening, and you just know, like, I'm in for a ride. Okay, James Cameron, I trust everything you're going to do from here.
James Cameron has my full confidence.
That's like literally one of my first notes from this scene is like, this is James Cameron just declaring, yeah, I know how to make a fucking movie. Sit down and enjoy it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And so he directed Terminator 1, and that came out in 1984. This is a 7-year gap in between Terminator 1 and Terminator 2. And this movie comes out in 1991, and then it takes place in 1994, where John Connor's supposed to be 10 years old. And all the future stuff takes place in the far off distant future of 2029. And we were saying this a little earlier, it's looking more and more like 2029 every day.
Insert clip of Sam Altman saying something about how he thinks the technology he's creating is going to destroy the world. God dang morons. Anyway,
we deserve it
at this point.
Judgment Day.
Yeah, Judgment Day is coming.
Okay,
it's coming.
So I did I read the novelization of Terminator 2. As I want to do, if there's a novelization of any movie that I like, I immediately jump on it. And okay, so those flying helicopter Terminator things, those are called hunter killers,
Mm-hmm.
apparently. And I got some fun little trivia about Terminator 2. The first being that, okay, so when the human resistance is fighting the Terminators in 2029, most of those human soldiers, they come from below the equator. The human resistance is mostly coming from South America and like Central America, I guess. I don't know where the equator is actually, but
Because they were less bombed.
yes, they were less
Okay.
targeted by Skynet.
Which would make sense.
Um,
The Skynet would probably first choose to take out the headquarters of both like capital and culture and finance, which would be like the U.S. And at the time, the USSR.
Ooh, no, the Ruskies.
Yeah.
Take this, Boris.
Yeah.
Okay, so when the humans send Kyle Reese back, they like quickly they realize they win the war like right after that happens. They defeat the robots. Like this the reason that they have a T-800, which is the Arnold Schwarzenegger Terminator, the reason they have a T-800 is because they destroy Skynet's like central computer, and all of the Terminators that are waging war on the humans, they just stop in place. And it's just like they're like the Guardians in Breath of the Wild.
Ah, yeah.
And that so they find evidence of the T-1000 shortly after they send Kyle Reese back. They find evidence of a T-1000 being sent back in time again because after the I'm sorry about this.
No, this is great.
After the central computers go down, there are still rogue Terminators who are offline but independently operating.
Uh-huh.
There are still Terminators trying to terminate humans, but they realized once the computers went down that sending a Terminator back to kill Sarah Connor in 1984 didn't work. So according to its computations, they're like, oh, we need to send a more advanced Terminator to 1994, 10 years later, because they know where Sarah is at that point. And it's only then that John Connor is able to reprogram a T-800 to go back in time to protect him from the T-1000. So that's a little fun thing. And okay, time travel in this, it's not just sending something somewhere. They call it time displacement. You notice when the Terminators and when Kyle Reese, they like when they go to the past, there's always like stuff being cut out, right? Like when the T-1000 comes in, you see like the chain link fence gets like a clean orb shaped cut into it.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like taking a scoop out of one carton of ice cream and a scoop out of the other and switching them. So it's like it's a trade.
Yeah.
Which is how
everything in that space.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the novelization, when they send Kyle Reese back, in exchange, they got a bunch of beer cans from LA streets.
That's funny.
And they're like, it's from 1984. It's beer. So
yeah, so they like that's how they know they succeeded.
Yeah.
That I think helps to begin answer some of like my open quote unquote plot holy questions.
Okay.
Because I like to think of Terminator 1 and 2, the films, it's like that is full canon. Everything else outside of it is like not James Cameron, the author, intention, because he's on record being like, I thought it was done with Terminator 2.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anything left to say. But when I was watching this, my biggest gaping question is why the T-800 you send back to protect John Connor would look like the thing that terrorized his mom 10 years earlier.
Yeah. So,
like, was there a choice of what the skin of the Terminator looked like, or did just every T-800 look like Arnold Schwarzenegger and they were just stuck with that as the model to send back?
Josh, I'm so glad you asked.
Thank you.
In some deleted footage from Terminator 3, they have, and it's more of like an Easter egg or like a kind of fan servicey like little yuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's established that all of the T-800s have the same exo skin. Anyway, they have an exoskeleton. No, exoskeletons on the outside.
I believe, yeah, I'd say sure.
But all the T-800s, if they're not just metal skeletons, they look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Because in Terminator 3, it's determined that the skin, it's based on a military, I think it was sergeant or maybe lieutenant, and he's Lieutenant Candy. And it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then they overdubbed his voice. He was like, "Hi, I'm Lieutenant Candy," and they're like, "We decided to go with a different voice."
Yeah.
Like, it was a very funny clip. But I didn't watch Terminator 3 in preparation for this talk, and I'd rather not ever watch it again.
No, I don't.
Although there's a pretty good Terminator 3 video game, a first-person shooter for the PlayStation 2 that I liked a lot.
I am going with James Cameron. I'm like, if you tell me it's done, I will follow you, dear leader, into the abyss and trust you.
Yep.
Oh,
and also the fact that they killed off Sarah Connor, they're just like, oh yeah, she got leukemia and died off screen. Like
in Terminator 3.
Yeah.
Oh.
Whereas in Terminator folklore or whatever, in Terminator canon, Sarah Connor lives well into the battle against the robots, and it's only after she's killed is when John realizes he needs to send Kyle back in time.
Yeah. And then to begin talking about like the film proper.
Let's talk about this film.
The opening after the Future War, where the T-800 Arnold Schwarzenegger comes back. The thing that I like immediately clocked, and I pulled up a little bit of the clip where he takes the motorcycle.
I need you to close your boots and your motorcycle. Yeah,
after he does that, and there's a bar fight, and he has the motorcycle. They're playing Bad to the Bone.
Oof, George Thorogood with Destroyers.
I just immediately clocked the sort of masterful direction of Arnold Schwarzenegger for however good or bad an actor he is. That for a viewer coming into this in 1992, all you know is he's back, Terminator 2. You don't know he's going to be the good guy at this point.
Yeah.
But there is just like something in his acting as the T-800 that you go like, this is not the same psychopath from before, even though he shows up to do ultraviolence to a bunch of guys in a bar.
But he doesn't kill them.
Yeah, he doesn't kill them.
Whereas in the first Terminator, he immediately guts Bill Paxton and kills those punks to steal their clothes. I mean, Terminator 2 is technically a remake of Terminator 1, just with more, which is what a good sequel is. It gives the people what they want and then some, what they're expecting
builds
and then some.
Well.
Yes.
And like the direction that like you could just see it in his eyes, like he's not as murderous other than just like his actions. There's something going on here.
It's the soundtrack. It's the fact that they give him this like, it's not just
yes.
It's like, yeah, we're getting like
like we're having fun with it instead of like being terrified of what this man's doing.
If there's a movie that you should buy this original soundtrack on cassette tape, this is it. This is something.
And play it in your Jeep Wrangler.
I mean, like I used to be like, oh, Guns N' Roses, the Terminator 2 band. Like that's how I saw them. That's the only thing that's important was that it was like, oh, that's what John Connor listens to when he's working on his bike with Bobby Budnick.
Yeah. Oh God. Yes. First off, thank you for clarifying that is indeed Bobby Budnick.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's talk about Salute Your Shorts for a second. Salute Your Shorts was a huge inspiration for camp video games because it was all I had in terms of camps, like a camp media that's literally camp. That I'm not talking like wink, wink, Susan Sontag camp. We're talking like I like things that take place at camp. And that was a very important show to me. And my parents couldn't afford to send me to summer camp. And I resented that. And therefore, I latched on to camp-related movies like Camp Nowhere, Heavyweights, and then Salute Your Shorts was a big one. So I just wanted to shout out Bobby Budnick.
Who is anybody who has no idea what we're talking about, the character who plays John Connor's best friend,
Tim,
who helps him elude the cops.
Yes.
The actor played the sort of bully in this Nickelodeon
like a bully on par
show.
with Roger from Doug.
Yeah.
Where he's just he's just there to make the main characters feel a little lessened.
Yeah. But anyways, before we get to all that, the T-1000, which shows up through time displacement, as you mentioned, we do immediately clock as bad due to how
Cop Killer.
Well, one, he shows up and, well, it's funny because this is the point I want to make. He shows up and kills a cop and takes his form.
Yes.
And
Officer Austin, in case you're wondering.
And this
he was supposed to be off duty that day.
So, of course, they're always supposed to.
Today's my day off. I'm not even supposed to be here today.
But he shows up, takes this cop, takes his life and his likeness.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to note that the T-1000, which has no original form, it is liquid metal. For whatever reason, James Cameron decides that whenever he wants to go to baseline, he's going to become a cop.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that says about James Cameron's thoughts on cops and his critiques of them, but I just clocked it as I was watching. I was like, it's interesting he keeps going back to being a cop.
Yeah.
I also like made a note of it's like sort of like noticing an evolution of like the surveillance state as well within that 10 years,
Sure.
where like in the first movie, Arnold has to go to the phone book and systematically, as the T-800 who murders Sarah Connors, goes through the phone book and just starts murdering them.
Phone book massacre.
Whereas the T-1000 takes the cop's identity, gets in his car, and immediately pulls up where John Connor is in 1992, or who John Connor is, and like where he lives.
Because John Connor at this point is he's got foster parents. His dad died killing a Terminator, coming back in time, and his mom got driven crazy because it's hard. It's hard to be the mother of humanity's last hope in the upcoming war with the robots.
Yeah. Well, she's the only one who's not crazy, and that makes you crazy.
I'm not crazy. I know what I saw.
Yeah.
I want to get into this immediately because Sarah Connor is the most gaslit woman in cinematic history. She has been told, she's been institutionalized because after the events of Terminator 1, she goes down to Mexico, where she has friends, family. I can't tell. Like, I don't think Sarah Connor is Mexican. Like, that doesn't sound like a very.
I mean, you know,
sure.
Mother could, on her mom's side.
I take it back. I take it back. But in any case, she has connections in Mexico, and like it's already happening. Like, you see this at the end of Terminator 1, where she gets her photo taken by what ends up being the most important photographer in history, because it's that photo that makes Kyle Reese fall in love with Sarah, which makes him willing to go back in time without knowing that he's supposed to knock her up.
Right.
And so, like, it's that photograph that, like, we were talking about this before we started recording, like, the things men will do before they're in a long-term committed relationship to get pussy. Like, the lengths that a single man will go.
The dumb things a man will do.
And like that little boy who got $4 for a Polaroid, most important photographer in history. Okay, Sarah Connor is in the is it Pescadero?
Yeah.
It's like a mental health. It looks like a maximum security prison with white overalls or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
I think this pretty accurately represents a psychiatric center that somebody like her would be institutionalized to.
Yes.
And the first thing we get is close-ups of her sweating doing pull-ups. Immediately just saying, this woman is committed.
Yes.
She is on the path.
She's literally committed.
Quite literally physically. But she is not going to stray from her mission because she is this far down and still training.
Yeah. They made it a point to show the different ways I'm not on a limb here by saying there's a lot of Christian like mythology mixed in with the Terminator series. And
big
like,
time.
You know how like in the lore of the Christian, Jesus is in everybody's heart. You just need to find it and accept it. And this movie is saying everyone's got a little bit of Terminator in them.
Your ability to understand the future wars is in your heart. You just have to accept Sarah Connor as prophet.
She is a prophet. She is. And like she's been visited by the ghost of Christmas future, and she's changed her ways.
And impregnated with the Christ figure.
Yeah. Yeah. Or at least Gabriel.
Yeah. We talked about this a little bit in the other episode.
Yeah,
so.
I had some other theories about how she got impregnated, but we won't repeat that. The cop's name that I think I said this already, but the T-1000 steals the identity of Officer Austin.
Mhm.
And even in the novelization, they're like, he's a handsome guy, but he doesn't bring too much attention to himself, which is like, I think it makes sense for a Terminator to take the identity of a police officer because you can just go anywhere and do anything with impunity
Yes.
and zero accountability. And if you do
You
anything,
can murder whoever you want.
and
just
people will
walk
be
away.
like, justice.
Yeah. People will be like, she had it coming.
Yeah, people will be in the Fox News comment section are just like, we back the blue, even if they are Terminators.
Those foster parents that you went and murdered deserved it. They questioned your authority. But yeah, so he, as I was saying, much quicker than the original Terminator, is able to just be like, oh, John Connor, delinquent, we've got his address. Let's go there.
Yes.
Because the surveillance state has advanced that much in just 10 years, which is something that I think James Cameron is brilliantly observing in this film, because what is like Skynet if not a prediction of a surveillance state and obviously the AI computer controlled aspect of it, but it's just like plays such a bigger part in these films than is like outwardly declared in the script.
I think one of the major reasons Terminator 2 resonated so deeply with so many people is because James Cameron is a prophet. You say Sarah Connor's the prophet.
Yes.
James Cameron is a prophet. He has
That's what I'm getting
foretold the future. With certainty, AI will be the death of us. And I'm saying that in real life right now.
Like,
and he nailed it. Like, it's not only
10 years before Hideo Kojima in Metal Gear Solid 2.
That is true. The facial recognition software that the T-800 has too. When he's on the motorcycle and John's running from the T-1000 when the T-800 is able to immediately be like beep, 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 John Connor as he's on a motorcycle going in one direction while John Connor's going a different direction. It's just like, oh, we got that. We already have that.
Yeah, we absolutely have that now.
There's a lot.
It's not a good thing, which if you read newspapers, they're going to try to convince you it's a good thing that we have this. It stops criminals.
Oh, that's what it does.
Yeah.
Now, who's going to be a criminal this week?
Whoever the people with the most power say is a criminal. Anyway.
Okay, so Dr. I think I don't know if it's Silverman or Silberman. I think it's Silberman. That's the doctor that's overseeing Sarah Connor's psychiatric evaluation.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like a pop culture psychiatrist.
Yeah. Again, rhyming with the first one.
Yes.
I was even wondering if it's supposed to be the same guy.
It
for
is the
some
same
freak
guy.
reason.
It's the same actor.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Dr. Silverman is like, he's a charming. I don't know the actor's name. He's like one of those guys, like you see him, you're like, oh, him again.
Yeah.
Like he's so charming,
Character
but
actor.
like understated. A wonderful character. He's never going to be the lead.
Right.
He's a perfect character actor. Dr. Silberman is he's not a believer in the Terminator story. He's been trying to basically convince Sarah Connor that she's delusional and that she is like, as a result of her delusions, he's seen it that she's basically kept in solitary confinement for years, and she's not even allowed to call her son. And there's a fun little to show how different Sarah Connor, how much she's changed, is that Dr. Silverman's like leading a bunch of like younger like med students and like giving a tour of the facility. He's like kind of like peacock and be like, yeah, this is my most interesting patient with her delusional architecture is unique. I think his wordage. And he's like, hi Sarah, how's it going? She's like, hello Dr. Silverman, how's the knee? Because she stabbed him in the knee with a ballpoint pen. And in the book, it was a screwdriver. And I think they're like, how would she get her hands on a screwdriver? A pen makes more sense. Sarah Connor is like, she used to be in the first Terminator movie. The first Terminator, Sarah Connor is a victim who is thrust into a survivor role.
Yeah.
She's
now
now
her introductions between the two movies
oh yeah,
are so radically different in tone.
yeah. In number one, she's getting a scoop of ice cream in her apron.
Yeah.
Number 2, she is threatening to inject bleach into her psychiatrist's throat. No, but the first time it's just like, she's like, I mean, this movie helped me understand what PTSD is.
Yeah.
Because Sarah Connor is a textbook, like, traumatized woman who has never been able to exit the fight or flight, like, on heightened, like, terror
Well,
that
then
she
you
her
add on-
whole life.
You add on top of that the whole thing we were saying about how like she's the only one who's not crazy.
Yeah.
And it's like there's like a term, you said gaslighting. It's like beyond gaslighting, because like in gaslighting, it's like the person doing it has some awareness of what they're doing to them, whereas these people, they have no way of knowing that like, no, what she's saying is true.
Well, that's the interesting thing. It's like, it's a weird cover up where the cover up is worse than the crime, because Cyberdyne Systems has the Terminator technology from the wreckage of the first T-800 trying to kill her. They have the arm and they have the microchip in the brain or whatever.
Yeah, but they're probably not.
They are not communicating
Connected,
that
yeah.
technology with the authorities, and they're willing to just let Sarah Connor. They're throwing her under the bus because they've got a
So my
chance to make
question
some money.
is Cyberdyne aware of Sarah's institutionalization?
Yes, and they are actively keeping her under supervision still.
Well, that
because
sounds so unrealistic. That sounds like something we'd never do.
no. We everybody's ethical. Everybody cares
Unnecessarily
about the bottom line.
institutionalizing or imprisoning people because it's convenient for private equity and property and all that. No, we wouldn't do that. Anyways, Cyberdyne Technologies. Yes, we are introduced to them next.
Yes, because Sarah Connor, the reason that she's under lock and key right now is because she tried to blow up a computer manufacturing plant, because she's up, she's like, fucking computers, man. Like, I don't like them.
She's like, I am now.
Yeah. How many pull-ups can you do?
Not
Here,
enough.
let's
Not
flip
enough.
that bet over and get you up there. So Cyberdyne is like, Sarah Connor's a problem. Like, she knows too much. We don't get the full story, at least in the movie, about their involvement, but it's apparent that like they're willing to like be like, oh well, what's one woman? Who cares? We got profits to consider.
Exactly. So but what's the guy's name? Miles what? The guy
Dyson.
Miles Dyson. You also get a sense he does throughout the whole movie, but even just with this introduction where you get to see like he has the microprocessor in the arm of the original T-800, you get a sense he doesn't understand the stakes of what he's doing either. He's just doing exciting research. Yes, there's probably some profit motive involved, but like,
no, he's a scientist.
yeah, he's just a scientist
Yeah.
who's excited about this weird technology he's trying to understand.
That's right. And they kind of summarize his relationship with the technology in a little exchange he has with a underling that's like, Mr. Dyson, like, I've been meaning to tell you, like, this technology, where did it come from? And Dyson's just like, don't ask questions. Like, I learned very early on not to ask questions, and
Yeah.
like, just let that satisfy
Which
you.
like I imagine there's a lot of like young like cybersecurity software engineers, people like that in the world who are like they're so far removed from the end use case of what they're developing. They're like, I just learned not to ask questions and take the check.
I would
'Cause
be a
that's what
lot-
our entire economy is right now, is spying on people and killing children and figuring out more efficient ways to do it. And like kids probably, yeah, they went to school excited about science and they're like, I'm developing research for something. I don't know what it is. I'm not going to ask questions. Like, I know people like that
Yeah.
in my
Oh,
own
yeah.
life, you
Yeah.
know?
I would be a rich man if I didn't have a conscience.
Exactly.
I remember working in advertising, and I realized that like what I was working on was going to just become a banner ad for a website. And I was
Yeah.
like, God damn it, I'm out. Like, it was that simple. I was just like, I'm the villain. Like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Like, but except, I'm not responsible for the annihilation of 6 billion people.
I do enough through just my consumption as an everyday American. I
That's
don't need
right.
to add to the pile through my work, you know? But anyway, the next sequence is kind of when things pick up and get a little more exciting, where the Arnold's T-800 and the T-1000 are both closing in on John Connor, who is having a fun, just delinquent day out.
He's at the arcade.
Yeah.
This is a huge moment where you get to see video games in a movie. We've talked about this before, and probably in the Wizard discussion that we had way
Probably.
back, where it's just like back in the day, campers, before we had the internet and before there was just like a library of video games at your fingertips, seeing game footage in a movie was revolutionary. It was just like, it's like, I don't even need to pay a quarter for this.
Yeah.
I get to see the flashing lights. We get to see Missile Command. We see Afterburner. We see Narc and Space Invaders. And I feel like those were all like stylistically implanted in the scenery because James Cameron gets it.
Yes.
He knows how important video games are, and he's responsible for movies that have created so many video games.
And beyond understanding like, oh, the importance of video games, the craft and composition and editing of this scene of them all zeroing in on each other
Yeah.
is so well done.
Yeah.
Like that every time we cut away, we get like the interior of that character completely unaware of the other two characters, all zeroing in to like where the others are.
Yeah.
Like a very not like what's the word I'm looking for? Like a very confined way, right? There's like one shot maybe where you see like Arnold and the T-1000 guy crossing each other, but beyond that, it's like the very interior of all three of them trying to find each other. And then is it right before or right after his friend shows him is shown the picture and is like, dude, we gotta go. But in the game John Connor's playing, the end game over screen pops up.
Yeah, that's from Missile Command.
And it's like,
This
is the end of your life as a child. From now on, you are a soldier of a future war.
I saw
it's
that.
about to start. Let's go.
I see that because Missile Command is a game where you're shooting missiles at missiles. You're doing like the Star Wars defense system.
Yeah.
And when all of the city and you're defending a bunch of cities from a missile attack. And once you lose all of the cities, then a big mushroom cloud.
Yeah.
I saw that more as like foreshadowing, but I like that. That makes a lot of sense. This is the end of John Connor's halcyon days.
His innocence. Like he's never not gonna be like freaked out about a future war ever again.
A nice little touch when Arnold takes his shotgun out of the
rose case.
Guns and Roses.
I didn't think about the Guns N' Roses connection, but
Oh, and this movie is brought to you by Pepsi.
yeah, I also like I was thinking of it as it's like he's pulling a gun out of something that's ostensibly usually used to show affection and love, you know, a box of roses, and how that is like further indication of like, oh, he's the protector in this movie. He's the good guy now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, this movie's so good.
This fucking I don't know if I said this in the recording, but I watched this once after I watched it twice in a row without pausing. It was just like, it's over. I was watching it on VHS, so I rewound my tape and then just started it over. It's that good that the second viewing was more enjoyable than the first viewing. And okay, so it's like, this is also like philosophically, this is like an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object, and like what happens where it's just like the Terminator, I would say, is like he if you were to like analyze this from like a Greek mythology standpoint, like the Terminator is Hercules and the T-1000 is like a chimera or perhaps some other thing, but the chimera being like an amalgamation of all these different monsters that is like not of this earth. And like that's the T-1000, right? It's a shapeshifter. It steals the identity of its victims, and it tends to kill the people whose identity it steals. And like the Terminator, however, is just like some leather daddy.
Just yes. Very well put. And then we move into
God, this movie is an amazing just chase sequence.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, we move into God, how many chase sequences happen in this exact aqueduct?
It's so cool.
It just seems like they're constantly jumping into an aqueduct. I don't know what else there is to say beyond like the chase scene is insanely cool. It and the first half of this movie, I think makes you think like mini bikes were way more popular than they were.
I want one so bad.
Because John Connor's life as a mini bike owner looks so cool.
Yes, he's a 10-year-old with wheels.
Yeah,
and like he doesn't care about curfew. He doesn't care about getting a license. He's just like, he's already like, as a result of his upbringing, he's got these skills. I mean, it opens with him defying his foster parents and then using an Atari computer to rob an ATM machine. And if you're wondering, he withdrew $300 and he gave 100 of those dollars to Bobby Budnick, and he kept the other 200 so they could go play arcade games and probably buy the new Guns N' Roses album.
Good for him.
Yeah, good for him for giving his homie $100
Yeah.
just for being lookout.
Exactly.
John Connor has this, like, he's got a unique set of skills for a 10-year-old. He knows how to work on bikes. He later in the movie knows how to reload guns and like how to like he's been bred to be, or not bred, he's been raised to be a leader of men. And that's a lot of pressure for a prepubescent boy.
Well, it also, beyond just pressure, like at this point, he thinks his mom's a nut too.
Yes. And so with the
like we
proof
missed
of
that early
Terminators,
on. Yeah.
with the proof of Terminators, he's like, my mom was right. Like, oh no.
Yeah,
like
and
he's like he's glad because he realizes his mom's not crazy, but he's also like, but if that's true, then that means in 1997 we're gonna have a big problem.
Yeah. So he clocks this almost immediately after this chase scene.
Yeah. He says to the T-800, he's like, okay, you're obviously not here to hurt me. Figured that out for myself.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that? Like,
yeah. So they what happens after this chase scene? Yes, they have this like revealing conversation where the T-800 explains like, you sent me to protect you from the future. And it's because of the way he was raised by his crazy mom, it's not hard for him to like buy this story.
Yeah.
As much as he thought it was nuts until this moment.
Well, I think he started to like doubt his mom when basically she was taken away from him. Like that seems to be their relationship, because like any kid, like you know, it takes a while. It's kind of like Munchausen syndrome, where it's just like your mom's like, there's something wrong. Like there's something wrong. You're like growing up. You're like, I guess there's something wrong. I don't know. My mom's like the person telling me this. And it's not Stockholm syndrome, because he's not like she's not a threat to her son, but she's not like mom of the year, because like she's like only interested in his capabilities as a military leader in the upcoming war with the robots.
There's just, we're not going to land on any clinical word for their relationship, because the fact that she's right about all of it is just something that's not, there's no precedent outside of like this movie and other sci-fi, right?
It's a unique delusional archetype.
Yes, as her physician said. Is this the point where he like learns that the Terminator is under his command?
My very own Terminator.
Is that in this scene where they do the reveals?
It's when so he first starts to make a phone call. It's he like,
that's in my notes. It says it's at this point.
Yeah,
you have to do what I
checks out.
say, don't you?
Right, because he's trying to like, he calls out for help when the Terminator like picks him up, and like those two like meatheads, like, what's going on over here?
Yeah.
And then John just yells, "Put me down!" And then the Terminator puts him down, and then it clicks. He's like, "Oh,
like,
you have to
why?
do whatever I say." But the reason they have that little altercation is because John wants to go save his mom from the facility, because he calls his foster parents, and the T-800 is just like, it's a bad idea to call your mom. Like, if I was trying to kill you, I would be there right now.
Yeah.
And
then my favorite little Easter egg, for people fans of the original movie, is when he calls before you realize the T-1000 is like killed his foster mom, is about to kill his foster dad, and is on the phone. The dog's barking. And the first movie tells us that's how they would identify Terminators. In the future war.
Good point. Yeah.
And it's
Max
just like
the dog.
Showing, not telling. Just a little Easter egg for people who are paying attention to clock just like 30 seconds before John does, like, oh, that's a Terminator. Your mom's already dead.
Yeah, and interesting
Stepmom's or foster mom, whatever.
an interesting like dynamic between a hero and the villain in a movie. The This is the only time that the T-800 ever speaks to the T-1000 is when he's doing John's voice, where he's asking about Wolfie.
Yeah.
Because so John, the T-800 is like, what's your dog's name? And he's
And
like,
immediately
"It's
says a
Max."
different name.
He's like, what's wrong with Wolfie? And the T-1000 under the disguise of Janelle. Janelle Voight is her name. Janelle and Todd Voight are the foster parents. And a fun fact, Janelle, she plays, oh shoot, what's her name? Oh, she plays Vasquez in Aliens. So James Cameron sticks. He's got his people,
His crew.
for sure. Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's talk about the T-1000 for a second. Like the T-1000 is a liquid metal shape-shifting robot that can take the identity of anyone it touches, but it can also turn its body into weapons, mostly knives and pry bars.
Yeah, it's very into sharp, pointy things.
Yeah, very phallic. Everything's phallic.
Yeah. I think it inserts its phallic stabby thing through more than one man's face, like in the mouth hole, to kill them in this movie.
Oh yeah, this movie is so gay too. Like, if you like this movie, you're gay. Okay, just deal with it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's so good. Like oh my god. I wonder though, like with the tough guy leathers thing, or it's just like it reminds me of like Tobias Funke in Arrested Development, where he's like, I'm looking for something that says dad who likes leather.
Yeah. Which is in that it's culturally hearkening back to this male archetype that I think it's like James Cameron not being aware of leather daddy culture at the time, probably, and thinking like more like tough biker gang leather. I don't think there's anything like sort of dual meaning going on here, but it does make for a funny Tobias Funke joke later. That this did become like the cultural identity of leather for a decade or so after this movie, before like queer culture became more mainstream, and we went like, oh, that's their thing. You know?
Yeah, this is nothing like the leather daddy that we see at the end of Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals.
That one was aware of what it was doing. Go back and listen to that episode. That was fun.
It's a banger. Okay, so yeah, the T-800 doesn't want. It's a tactical misstep for them to go rescue Sarah Connor, because he knows. The T-800 knows that's where the T-1000 would go next, because humans have this thing called a heart that the T-800 doesn't quite understand.
Yeah.
Where it's just like,
he will by the end.
Oh, will he? It's just like he doesn't quite get that, like, it's important to people that they have other, like, all a Terminator knows is terminate. Terminator's gonna terminate.
Yeah.
And it's like, what? There's that famous line in this movie. Why do you cry? It's John Connor's like, I don't know, because you get sad and stuff. And then at the end of the movie, he's like, I now know why you cry.
Yeah.
It's like, do you?
I still can't do it, but I know why.
It's because you're gay.
Because you're gay and you have feelings.
Shout out to our LGBT homies. This is said.
I cry way more than any of my gay friends. I'm sure. I
cried watching this movie.
I mean, yeah, I think I probably cried during this movie. I'm trying to think. It doesn't matter. I cry during the dumbest stuff. But anyway, what happens next is I guess the escape is what's next. Oh, but before we get to that, I just want to note, going back to John learning that he has control of the Terminator. Made me go like immediately like, oh, we got a big buddy, little buddy situation going on. We got a Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong.
Cop and a half.
We got a Joel and Ellie. We got a what's the Kratos and whatever the kid's name is in God of War. Boy. It's just like, oh, I've seen this video game.
Oh yeah. This is the first rated R movie I remember watching, and I feel like this was a first for a lot of kids. It was too big to ignore.
It's crazy how like I just keep reflecting on like my own stepchild and how like like I say this to her credit as a sensitive person. She doesn't even like see somebody getting like smacked in a movie, you know,
Yeah.
like and like we were just mainlining this stuff as
Right.
kids.
What is that
It's so
called?
funny.
What's that called with her? Is that called empathy?
Yeah, like like kids are raised so much more
Weird.
like yeah, and like it truly like she feels like I'm in that situation. Like kids feel a more realistic, I think, connection. They like the suspension of disbelief, like generationally, is a little different.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think a lot of kids are like tuned into or like tuned out of like violent stuff.
For whatever reason, my nephew, who's about the same age as your step chibis,
Yeah.
he's so into slasher films.
Yeah,
And
and I'm not saying this is a blanket statement,
Mhm.
but like kids I've been around. But anyway, go ahead.
it's just I think he sees it as a creative, as like a filmmaker in the works. Like
Uh-huh.
he is fascinated with the mechanics of practical special effects.
Mhm.
And I would like to take some credit for that as like being the cool uncle that's like be like, "Hey, you ever hear of fucking Friday the 13th?"
Yeah.
Like, and he latched onto it. And
Well, actually, I
it
think
gives me hope.
that like starts to I think get to why I think it's a generational it's not like issue or problem, but like difference is because like if your parents at this point aren't raising you on stuff that's like either from our generation or a little earlier, production shifted wildly away from this style of like action violence, which is like I don't know. I see pros and cons
Yeah.
of both. Like the cons is like every movie is like toothless and meaningless now.
True. Absolutely.
um,
Except video game adaptations.
but yeah, like parents who are raising their kids on like nothing but Star Wars and Marvel. There's like this weird threshold of violence those movies do not cross. So you never really get
Bloodless violence.
yeah, this
It's-
bloodless
it's-
violence.
It's the entertainment of the oppressor, where the actions don't have the consequences that are true to life. Where you get your
Yes.
hands dirty when you kill somebody, and
Yeah.
like in Star Wars, like maybe like you see some like cauterized cuts from a lightsaber, but like other than that, there's no blood. Like you don't. There's
Exactly.
absolutely no violence. There's violence without gore.
Yeah, and it's interesting because like in older movies like this, there is like a lot of people like there's a lot of collateral violence and damage and bodies and stuff, but there's something about seeing the viscerality of it
Mhm.
that does make you connect to the horror of it a little more. Even though like the characters are treated more disposable.
Sure.
That like I don't know. I again pros and cons, but I'm more of the like let's let kids see things.
Yeah.
It's okay.
There- there's-
we don't need to wrap them in bubble wrap.
There
you know?
seems to be like an accepted like correlation between children who are interested in violent movies and careers in medicine. And like the seeing the anatomy on display and the cause and effect of what can happen to the human body sparks curiosity with people.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you've got like hate and violence in your heart. It means that you're interested in cause and effect.
Yeah, and I think the reason I'm thinking about like pros and cons and there being lines is like I just saw I don't even know what the video game was, but it was an ad for like a controller, and I watched the ad because like whatever game they were playing was like so weirdly, viscerally, both violent and fast, like in a way that I was like, oh, okay, no, I think some violence in video games is bad. It was just like somebody just flying through buildings, just mowing people down, blood spraying everywhere,
Yeah.
in like a not very like Doom cartoonishy way at all. That like and just like going so fast, which again is like speed in a first person shooter we learned is cool in Doom.
Yes.
But there was something about the combination of that and the realism that I was like, I feel like I'm in a mass shooting watching this.
Yeah.
You know, like this is a little too like desensitizing and not like showing like you're saying, like the the viscerality discomfort of certain types of violence that I'm like, maybe we don't need complete like uninhibited violence in our entertainment.
For sure. And I mean, Doom is cool because you're killing demons
Yeah.
and zombies, and you're not killing people that have 401ks and like, a home.
Yeah.
Like,
and like there's something about like the attempt at like realism and gore and like the quick displacement of like shoot this person and I'm on to the next person 50 feet away a split second later was like, whoa. But anyway, I'm detracting from Terminator.
what was that one? It was either Call of Duty or Battlefield. It was like where there's like a mass shooting in an airport where like I think your character is undercover with like a Russian terrorism organization,
Uh-huh.
and they go into a airport and you have to kill civilians with them to like keep your cover.
Wow.
And I just remember like I played it and it was just like after that level I was like, what are we doing here? Like
Yeah.
who is this entertaining? Where it's like you're about to go kill innocent civilians and like the terrorist is like, remember, no Russian, don't say anything in Russian.
Yeah.
And then just like "Guh, guh, 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 guh." And it's just like whose idea was this? Second, who's the target demo on this? Like I don't understand the violence violence is an accessory to an interesting story. It shouldn't be the point.
Yeah. Yeah, this is all leading me to like we might need to break format at some point and try Spec Ops The Line, because I hear people talking about it all the time as like a video game that very much dives into these questions.
Interesting.
That we're talking about like, ooh, is it okay to enact this type of violence, etc. But back to Terminator 2 and Sarah Connor's escape from the penitentiary or the institution here.
Yeah, this is it reminds me of Uma Thurman's character in Kill Bill's like plight,
Mhm.
where she is just taking advantage of, I don't want to trigger with any SA language here, but like the orderly who is tasked with like giving Sarah her medicine and like keeping, the doors locked in the facility. He is apparently taking advantage of her in her like medicated catatonic state. We see him like lick the entire length of her face as she's just blankly staring off into space,
Mhm.
where we realize that she didn't take her drugs and she's been like, coughing up the pills or whatever so as not to be under, I think it's Thorazine is what they're giving her.
Yeah. I feel like that might have been cut from my version that I watched.
Interesting. Yeah, I feel
like I remember seeing that scene, but I'm not remembering it from this viewing.
It's a shocking thing because like Sarah Connor is like a person who has gone through hell in like every available form that a person could go through.
Yeah.
She has been stalked. She's been like, attempted murdered. She's been impregnated by a guy from the future. What people go through, normal stuff. But it's like this orderly doing that. Like when I was watching it with my wife last night, and she was just like, if that's what he's doing when she's like, that basically, I never thought of it before this viewing. Like my wife was just like, if that, like, that's not all he does.
Right.
And it's just like, oh God, you're right. Like it's, and then Sarah like kills that guy with a broom handle and you're just like, good.
Yeah.
Like,
oh no, it is still in there. I missed it for some reason, but yeah. And to your point about it's like the woman who's been through everything, she's been through hell already. I'm actually like, you know what? If it pays off, like this scene does pay off that you see the abuse and then you see her get to kill her abuser, but it's just like, it's such a tropey thing with women of like, oh, and also she's sexually assaulted and like, it's like a little cheap to do that. I think when you have a sort of badass woman character, but this is 1992. This trope was not as like played out at that point, I guess.
What I think they're doing with this is showing her strength of character.
Right. It's like taking your power back.
She not only taking her power back is that like she's got bigger problems and she's been able to compartmentalize this trauma that anybody would go through when having that type of like assault.
Mhm.
It's like she's still like just like mission first, like go,
Yeah.
run, like do the work. She has to make sure the robots don't win the war against humanity. And like I don't know what I'm getting at. Is that like it only makes her stronger.
Yeah. No, and I agree with that. Um I was just saying, like, at this point in movie making, like, that's a bit of a trope of like, show the woman being sexually assaulted and then show her taking power back from her abuser.
Mhm.
Was less tropey when this was made, but now it's like a
I see.
little played
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, the rest of the scene, it's so cool. Again, you have James Cameron masterfully controlling all these different like focal points of character, zeroing in, narrowing in on each other, and all having like their own thing going on that they're not aware the others are coming, and just like masterfully in control of it the whole
Yeah.
time. Similar action sequence to like the mall thing that we just had.
Oh, for sure. It's all just like different electrical wires all coming closer and closer and forming a circuit. And with Sarah, it's like she is not like I don't know if we see her smile once in this movie. Like she is just like so bitter and like she's a battered woman who is like it's like the kind of person's like you punch them in the face and then they just spit a tooth out and they're like, is that it?
Yeah.
Like that's Sarah Connor.
Yeah, she rocks so hard. I mean the first time watching this movie as an adult, like a few years ago, I mean, just like immediately I'm just like rooting so hard for this woman versus as a kid, you're just like, we violence. You know?
See, I as a kid watching this, I couldn't like I latched on to John Connor so much. Like
Uh-huh.
this movie was made to make 10-year-olds like be like, damn, someday I want to be cool.
I
Like,
want a big buddy that could shoot people without killing them
yeah.
for me.
Well, it's kind of like it's I think it's in line with like the Japanese like mecha fascination where it's just like this little boy has power over a killer robot that
Yeah.
is like it's every kid's dream to have their own Terminator.
Mm-hmm. And now there's what's that new Capcom game? Everybody was like, is this the new Mega Man game? Because it's like this little blue girl who rides a big robot buddy or something.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. I've just seen a couple trailers for it. It's Big Buddy, Little Buddy. Again,
Love those.
it's popular. We love these.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
yeah. So yeah,
Abbott and Costello.
I think it's maybe right before John and the T-800 are infiltrating that John's like, you're not going to kill people anymore. And immediately the next guy that the T-800 runs into is the security guard at the gate, blasts his knees, and he's like, okay, I guess
Yeah.
that's not killing.
in the Terminator's words, he'll live.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
But it further...
I swear I will not kill anybody.
Yeah, it further shows us like, no, this thing truly is at his command, and is like wired to be able to figure it out, how to work around his commands to still complete his mission.
For sure. For sure. Sarah, okay, so ostensibly Sarah went down to Mexico after the first Terminator movie. First to just blow off steam, you know. She deserves a margarita after that.
Deserve a break.
But second is because like it seems that she's like, I mean, she's just planting the seeds of a revolution against the computer overlords,
Mhm.
and as a result, like she learned how to like. She knows the right way to take a hostage now. Like this is not what you would expect from a waitress at Big Boys.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, I just clock watching this. Just the way she moves through these hallways is interesting. Like
it's like a dream.
And,
It's
like,
like she's flying.
yeah, exactly. There's something like floaty about it, and everything she does reinforces what you're saying. That like since we last saw this woman, every moment of her life has been about preparation.
Yes.
To the point that it's like heartbreaking to watch.
It broke her.
Yeah.
She's not broken like physically, but like her heart is like closed to motherly affection. This is the story of a boy who wishes he had good like normal parents. That's
Yeah.
what John Connor is. And even later in the movie, they're like Sarah Connor's like watching the the T-800 and John work on a truck when they're in Mexico, and she's like, man, he would have been the best dad in the world if only he wasn't a Terminator.
Right.
It made me think, I was like, because she's like, oh, wait, you came back from the future? I guess I'm supposed to fuck you too.
Yeah, which leads us to the moment when they intersect.
Yes.
And this is like the ultimate, like, this is the definition of PTSD triggering fight, flight, or freeze.
Yes.
Is that she runs into the exact same thing that tried to kill her, that caused her life to go in this direction. Her immediate response is to run as fast as she can back to the danger she was running from in the first place. In spite of the fact that her son is right behind her.
It might not even register. She might think she's hallucinating at this point. It's like she's been institutionalized for so long. She's been under so many drugs that it's just like, is this real? Is this it for real this time? I can't tell. Oh, watch this. When he goes through the glass, his face is blue. You see, there's, and it's a piece of like protective tape, I think, to make sure that his lips don't get cut on the thing. It's a thing I've noticed every time I watch. Even as a kid, I was like, what's going on there?
That's funny. And so after the T-800 deals with all of these orderlies or whatever, we have the reprise of "Come with me if you want to live." That's right here, right? And again, there's something about the acting and the directing in Arnold's eyes that it's like, this is a very, very different robot than the first one that came to kill her.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much more human than the one that she dealt with 10 years ago or whatever.
It seems that like I think the direction for Arnold, because Arnold's an interesting actor, isn't he?
Yeah,
like
he's not. He's a bodybuilder.
It's just like he is a thespian. It's like he's not a technically good actor, but he's an interesting man who is just like, it's beyond charisma. It's just like, what's up with this guy?
Yeah.
Like, was his dad a Nazi? But it's because the Terminator is an uber mensch, and there's a lot of whatever happened in the 40s, let's talk about Terminator 2 instead.
Yeah, let's ignore that part. He gets like the same immediate trust and buy-in from Sarah, in spite of how rightfully traumatized she is by seeing him in the first place. Switches on a dime with that "come with me if you want to live."
Yes.
And then she turns around and sees the T-1000 liquefy through the bar doors, and it's like, I guess so, and like has to rewire her brain immediately for survival to entrust this thing that tried to murder her and changed her life forever. It's really fascinating and very convincingly done in a way that could be fumbled very easily as well.
What I believe happened is that time travel is really hard to like wrap your head around especially in like something with like a cyclical like time loop where there's a cause and effect where somebody from the future needs to affect something in the past so that future can happen. But basically, when John Connor sends the T-800 back to 1994, he reprograms it first to be a good boy. Second, he gives him a script where he's like, these key phrases will work on Sarah. Like, you need to come with me if you want to live. Because Sarah probably told John the story of Kyle Reese's, like, the day that they spent together. Like, John heard that over and over and over again.
Yeah. Because
it's important, John, and pay attention. And then he said this. He said, "Come with me if you want to live." And I was like, you know what? I like it when guys say that. And so John knew, like, he knew, because Sarah, again, in Terminator canon, Terminator 3 says that she died of leukemia before Judgment Day ever happened, which
not canon to me because James Cameron said so.
Yeah, James Cameron is not a part of it, therefore it has nothing to do with my head canon.
Yeah,
but like Sarah Connor was alive up until 2029, so John had time to like plan and to know that like he's like, when I send my dad back in time to conceive me, like it's gonna I need to stick to the script apparently,
Yeah.
because like according to time travel logic, if that doesn't happen, then this won't happen. It's hard to wrap your head around. Campers, if you can feasibly break down the logic of how I can wrap my head around the time travel like conundrum of this film, give me a 100-word essay
Yeah.
on time travel effects on the Terminator.
I'm always just kind of like, if it doesn't
Do that in the comments.
if it yeah, but like for me it's like, if the time travel aspect of something doesn't immediately make me go like, this is stupid, it makes no sense, I just gotta give them a little benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
You know? Like, which I think this movie does pretty well. And after they escape, or part of the escape, I forget where it is, but like there's this like really heartbreaking moment where like when John and Sarah first like physically reconnect,
She's hugging him.
well, no,
In the
you
car?
could see like he really kind of just wants a hug and an embrace. She immediately is like, we
Checking
need to
him.
check you for wounds.
Yeah.
Like she's just like, no, the war is on. We're going.
Yes.
There's no time for affection. And it's just like, oh.
That's all that kid wants is a hug from his
Right.
mom. And it's not, yeah, it's a hug with an ulterior motive.
Yeah. And then in both like a moment of James Cameron prophecy and then like setting up the evolution of the T-800's character for the rest of the movie, we have some explanation of like how he works, or how, I don't know if it's like how this unit has been reprogrammed, or if this is how the T-800s in general are supposed to work. But like he explains like, oh, I have a neural net, my CPU is a neural net processor. The more I contact with humans, the more I learn.
Mhm.
Which is like what the AI goons tell us their things are
Yeah.
doing, and that's why they are convinced they will reach a level of sentience that surpasses us, and that it like become what they have some stupid word for, like, oh, we're gonna reach this similar to like sentience.
Yeah.
But like that's both like what James Cameron is kind of like warning about, but it's also what makes the T-800 capable of evolving and like having feelings for them by the end of the film, when he's like, I hate to say it, but I gotta kill myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
Now I know why you cry.
now I know why you cry. It's data aggregation. It's
Yeah,
just like
machine learning,
we
large
see-
language model bull mess.
we do see that in Terminator 1 when the Terminator is in the hotel room and the cigar smoking janitor's like, you gotta get out of there. And like the Terminator's like going through a list of responses. He's like, fuck off, asshole. Like
Uh-huh.
it's just
Yeah.
like it's
Yeah, but-
mimicry. It's
and-
what the T-1000 does. It's mimicry of human emotions. It's not an appreciation necessarily.
Yes.
But it's and I also think that that's a ruse that the T-800 is doing by showing a last like semblance of affection to John, is what it enables John to then be able to say goodbye to him. It's like almost giving him closure with a father he never met.
Yeah, and like there's a question of like, what is the line between when a machine learning in our world, it's like large language is just like it's scanning text data,
Yeah.
and saying like, oh, if this then that would make this person who's talking to me appease me, like in Chat GPT, how it's just supposed to like make you feel good and it drives people insane.
Yep.
There is a question of like, is he truly learning and feeling emotion, or is he still just going through a program model? It's like, what's the line? There's a blur there of
Yeah.
like when it's real and when it's not.
It's like the Pinocchio conundrum where it's just like he
When
wants
is
to
he
be a real boy.
Yeah.
The gang goes to Mexico. Because once again, Sarah Connor has not made a positive like impression on local law enforcement. Like in the first one, she like shacks up with what they believe is a paranoid schizophrenic
Mhm.
who with delusions of grandeur. Or in this one, she seemingly links up with a mass murderer who's been completely off the radar for 10 years and suddenly shows up at the mall, then at the psychiatric institute to free her. So they're like is Sarah Connor in cahoots with a mass murderer? It's like, yes.
It's like a conspiracy, serial killer situation at this point. Yeah. I also like want to note that when they first get to Mexico, that this feels very much like James Cameron staring at you and telling you the message in a way, where the two kids are playing with guns and we get these slow-mo close-ups of it. And I think it's John looks at them and is like, knowing what he knows about the future war, he's like, oh, we're not going to make it, are we?
Yeah.
It's like James Cameron's like, we're already so obsessed with violence and we're just going to program it into our culture and thus into our computers that we're going to program the computers to kill us.
Yep.
Because we're so obsessed with it, which is a fascinating contradiction coming from the guy making the ultra violent blockbuster film about violence. Yep. I love it. God, he's the best.
It is. And those kids are playing with ultra realistic looking toy guns. They're just like, they just look like real guns. It's like, what is it? In Die Hard, what's the dad from Family Matters? What's his name?
I know Carl Winslow's the character.
Carl Winslow's the guy. His character in Die Hard is like he accidentally shot a kid with a toy gun. It was like his like tragic backstory in that. I think about that sometimes.
Also in this part is when the T-800 explains how Skynet starts the war. And
it makes the U.S. think that Russia shot them, and it creates like a kerfuffle.
Cyberdyne provides military computer systems, which to James Cameron says it does it for stealth bombers, because that was like, if you were a kid in the 90s and you had any amount of patriotism in you, you thought the stealth bomber that America had was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, dude, it's a black jet.
And then he's like, and then the next step was those computers got so sophisticated that the stealth bombers could become unmanned, which is the point we're at now. It's drone warfare, where we could just say like, this person needs killed 10,000 miles away. Go do it, robot. And now it does it.
Terminate.
And then the next step was for the computer to go like, well, I can just run the whole simulation and I know how it ends, so I'm just going to end it now, which is nuclear war.
Yeah.
I'm just going to hit fast forward and make the decision for them.
Humanity was deemed obsolete.
And it's like, I don't, the guys who are making money off these systems are out there saying in public, they're like, yeah, that's probably what it's going to do eventually. And it's like, then why are we doing it? We should destroy all of them.
Right. It's like
we should all be Sarah Connor.
Well, our new line of Terminators are here.
Anyways, so she gets hot is what happens next. They go and they meet her outlaw buddies and she puts on the hottest outfit in cinema history.
It really accentuates her physique and tone and her personality. She's I'm honestly like, my wife and we farm, and in like peak summer, like my wife is putting on Sarah Connor vibes, and it's like, I'm just like, hell yes.
I see that. Yeah. This is sort of the getting the gang together, like not quite montage, but act of the film.
It's like the first breath of rest that they've had in the last like hour.
Yeah. And so this is where all of the character development of John and the T-800's big buddy, little buddy dynamic evolves. It's where he teaches him hasta la vista, baby, because he wants him to talk more like a slang throwing teen from California. Which is very funny. You know, it's like our own kid does that all the time, where it's like she wants us to learn how to use her language, but then if we don't do it exactly right, she's like, it's so embarrassing.
Yes.
6'7".
I was about to say, what does 6'7" mean?
Slay, clock it, 6'7".
Affirmative. Let's talk about Edward Furlong for a second. James Cameron has a type with the hairdo. He looks exactly like Leonardo DiCaprio does in Titanic, and I feel like James Cameron's saying something with this predilection toward the
Clarify both for me and an audience. Edward is
Edward Furlong is John
Connor, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, go on.
I'm just more I think James Cameron likes guys that look like that.
Yeah.
That's all I'm really saying.
I mean, this was also, it's funny to think about like Leo looking like this for Titanic, because this was just a very 90s hairstyle.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, this was
I
my
was
look.
so desperate to get the bowl cut like this kid, even though I don't think I had seen Terminator when I was like, I need that haircut.
Yeah. But maybe you didn't see the movie, but you saw the action figures.
Right.
You see the posters, and
I
like
knew Hasta La Vista, baby. I knew I'll be back.
Yeah.
All that. Right.
That's probably thanks to The Simpsons.
Probably. Yeah.
Most of my pop culture knowledge is thanks to The Simpsons.
Yeah. I don't know. What else do we need to know about this batch of scenes
this
here?
Is
This is where she has her dream.
The weapons cache.
The weapons cache.
Is so cool. Sarah's got a bunker full of guns, and it's just like, as like a gun nerd, like it's like masturbatory. So like the scene of them like unearthing this like treasure trove of, it's like a dragon's hoard of gold, except it's just like AK-47s, Gatling guns or whatever, miniguns, grenade launchers. It's just like Sarah she's nothing if not persistent and dedicated to the cause.
Mhm.
Like she's amassing an arsenal in preparation for a war with the robots. And it's crazy if she's wrong.
Yeah.
But she's not wrong.
Yeah.
This is where Sarah has one of the scariest dreams in film history.
Yeah.
Like
it's very well done.
This movie is the reason I'm like, you know what? Nuclear weapons, not cool.
Right. And like this is exactly the kind of discomforting violence on film that I think we need to bring back.
Yes.
I don't think people are scared enough of violence and war because of how sanitized it's been in film.
Yeah.
But in her dream, she just dreams at extremely slow motion. Like what my understanding from, because they used to show us this stuff, they would show us in school, like this is the aftermath of what people in Hiroshima looked like.
Yeah.
Like
Their
this
skin
is like
sloughing off.
Yeah.
Ugh.
They used to show this to kids to show them like, this is really bad. We shouldn't even flirt with the idea of it. When now, well, you know, look at who's in charge and what they're into.
Oh, boy.
Because we don't have enough of this, or like the media literacy that when we see it, we understand what it's telling us about nuclear war and the horrors of war and violence. But it's extremely well done, extremely horrifying dream. And then like you also imagine on top of this, she's probably having this dream like every night.
Every day. Absolutely. And so if to clarify, Sarah's having a dream of, she's watching herself with a young John Connor, presumably. She's in her big boy waitress outfit from the first movie. And she's watching LA get nuked. And it's just like, it's like Pompeii meets the end. Like it's like an act of God. Like the nuclear fire is, I mean, this is Judgment Day. This is humanity's comeuppance for all of its sins.
Yeah.
Like this is how the world will end.
Yeah.
And it's a bummer. And it's also an incredibly shot like demonstration of the power of a nuclear weapon. Like what you're saying, like this is a cautionary tale. This is like ahead of its time in terms of like, okay, like when we think of like anti-nuclear art, my mind goes to Kojima.
I was gonna say, I think of Japanese guys, Kojima, Miyazaki, Hideaki Anno.
Yeah.
They all have produced, well, Kojima with like Metal Gear Solid 1 was all about warning people about how horrible it is. And then with Anno and Miyazaki, they have lots of films where it's like, why is this explosion so long and so like brutal?
Yeah.
And it's like, because they come from the culture where this happened to them and they really are serious about warning people about it.
How long is I'm a little out of date with my nuclear attack trivia, but like
Yeah.
how long is like the
The
Earth
actual blast?
how long is it irradiated
Oh,
afterward?
I don't know. I know it's decades.
Bummer.
Yeah. But another thing about that dream, and thinking about her, she's like having this probably every night, is you see real world Sarah on the other side of the fence, unable to do anything
Yep.
to protect uh
Her younger
her
self.
younger, yeah. She feels locked out of any sense of a safe life. But at the same time, all she can do is bang on this fence. She feels helpless. And then her next decision when waking up from the dream, she's carved no fate into the bench.
Yeah.
Which is relevant to the title of the video game we'll talk about in the next
Oh
episode.
yeah, we're talking about some games and can't video games.
And I think it's like the dream is sort of like she's like, I'm so tired of this dream and being stuck in this moment of helplessness. I finally have a bit of freedom. She decides she's going to take off on her own. And now that she knows who Miles Dyson is, she's like, this is like the one person I can take out and change the world. So that's how she decides to go and assassinate him. It's her next step.
It's also telling of her role as a mother, where she feels locked out of having what she's looking in on what could have been with a normal life with a son that she's able to just take to the park and play.
Yeah.
And she's no longer that woman, and she's locked out of that lifestyle.
Yeah, like this war has taken this from me. And like I'm gonna take action right now to see if I can fix it with one quick bullet to one guy.
Oh boy, yeah. With Miles Dyson. So Miles Dyson again, he's the head of research into the Terminator technology that was recovered at the site of the T-800's demise in the first Terminator film, and he's essentially reverse engineering the technology to be able to develop it. It's one of those like chicken and the egg situations where it's like which is like my brain, like I tried to write a short story using time travel, and I was just like, never mind. Like I'm not gonna bother with it. It's too confusing, and I have such a hard time making sense of it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm so fascinated by the choice to assassinate Miles Dyson, because John is very much against it. John's like, you can't kill this guy.
She's gotta waste Dyson.
Yeah, and I am of a couple minds about it, because I feel like we don't necessarily have enough information as a viewer as to whether or not killing this guy will matter. It kind of depends on like how far along his research is and how many hands it's in. So I'm thinking a lot about. I read this book for work called "Why We Fear AI."
Yeah,
and it talks a lot about like this, like the sense of like everyone believing in the inevitability of AI is similar to like the inevitability of like capitalism. Like somebody like Luigi Mangione allegedly kills this CEO, and the natural will of capitalism is going to find somebody else to fill that guy's slot.
of course,
who's like,
of course.
I'll do all the social violence.
I'll be the evil
for
guy.
the paycheck,
That's
right?
fine.
And like this is kind of the same situation, that if his research is spread out enough in that company, that somebody else is like, even if they know everything about this, like there will be somebody in that company's like, I'm willing to take the short-term profit so that even if I know the world's gonna end, you know, it's like, is killing him the right answer? But
killing Dyson's only the beginning, because she needs to kill him and then destroy the tech.
Exactly. So it's like, if we know he's the only one who knows and we can destroy the tech, then absolutely you should kill him and destroy the tech.
Yeah.
But if anybody outside of that knows, who is involved in the company's like profit motive, it's like you'll find another guy,
Of course,
who will be willing to do that research, even if they know like, oh yeah, we've heard rumors that it's going to destroy the world. Like they'll be like, well, I'll take the money, I'll take the paycheck.
Yeah, I'll die of a heart attack 10 years before that. Who cares?
Yeah. And just a funny note I wrote down is that Dyson is saved the same way that Trump was saved from that kid in Pennsylvania. He just looks the other way for a split second and dodges it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so she does, she wings him but doesn't kill him. And then in confronting him face to face, slows her roll a little on these murders.
She sees that he's more than just like this is the difference between people and Terminators.
Yeah.
She has a heart. She sees like, oh my God, I just hurt this man with a wife and a son. Like this could be anybody.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's her humanity that saves Dyson in the short term.
Yeah. But in her anger is what she says, probably my favorite part of the movie, where it's like, no, this is why a female lead is important in this, where she says,
oh, I know
to
what
Dyson, yeah, men like you built the hydrogen bomb. You don't know what it's like to really create something, to create a life. And it's such a wonderful, like, right to the bone critique of like patriarchy, that like there's something about the fact that men are always in charge of things, and especially I'm just, kind of looking in the back at the last calendar year as we record this in early January, of like the theme of last year was like just move fast and break shit. It was sort of like the socio-political theme amongst men in power. It was like, just break everything.
Yeah.
Don't worry about building things. Don't worry about creating things. Just break stuff so that we can take power right now. And a woman has this a woman who's brought life into the world has a keener sense of like, no, life is precious, and it's harder to make stuff than it is to break stuff.
Yeah. I'm always quoting that line. I'm like, you don't know what it's like. You've never made a podcast where you talk about video games before.
You don't know how hard I work, baby.
I love being a dude.
That's absolutely my favorite line in the movie.
It's the thesis.
Yeah, exactly.
Sarah Connor is like, she's a radical militant, she's not an eco-terrorist, she's a techno-terrorist. But then you're like, you could just say that if you read let's say you're reading the back of the box before you read Terminator 2, and they're like, a woman who tried to destroy a computer factory because she believes robots are going to take over the world, goes on an assassination field trip to kill this guy. You'd be like, oh, that sounds like a bad person. And you're like, oh no, wait, Sarah's a good person. Like, she's the only good person in the room right now.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It subverts your expectations.
She's the best.
Where it's just like all of the data leads to being like, oh, this is a problem. But then you're like, oh no, that's the solution.
Yeah, exactly.
So the plan is after okay, so the Terminator and John intercept Sarah right after her failed assassination attempt. They talk her down. They get her calmed down. She has her cigarette. Man, no one can smoke a cigarette like Linda Hamilton.
Yeah.
It's just like, you make it look so good.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm ready to start smoking again. Let's do it. It's been a good 15 years without cigs. Let's go. I'm ready to start again. But so they calm her down, and then the T-800, like, to be like, okay, he's like, I need to get everyone's attention in the room right now, and I need Miles Dyson to take this seriously. So he takes out a switchblade. In the book, I believe it's the same switchblade that the biker that he pins him to the pool table. In the book, we don't see this in the movie, but in the book, he takes the knife back out of him and keeps the knife. And I believe it might be the same knife. I don't know. I'm distracted by how fun novelizations are to be like, well, the book's better.
Yeah.
But the T-800 cuts off the skin outer layer and revealing his metal skeleton hand. And he's like, does this look familiar?
Yeah.
And it's just like, now I've got your attention, Miles Dyson. Now you see that, like, this crazy lady, maybe she should have killed you if you're paying attention.
Yeah.
But
and he becomes like, he taps into his humanity and is fully on board. Well, obviously they could just kill him, and that's the other leverage they have over him. But he is genuinely in like, oh, what I'm doing is very, very bad.
Yes. And
joins their side authentically.
It's revealed in such a funny little offhanded way where it's just like the T-800 takes his hand off. He's like, listen to me very carefully. Yeah. And then they go through the speech. And, they kind of yada yada the speech. And then Dice is just like looking out into like nothing. He's like, I think I'm going to puke. Yeah. It's just like, he's like, I know what they're saying is true. I don't know how I can prove it to myself, but I know what they're saying is true. And like, that sucks.
Yes. And then
I guess I'm out of a job.
The big infiltration of Cyberdyne action sequence is next. not really sure like where to pick up here. But
This is so now they're going to go retrieve the Terminator relics so that they can destroy them, so that no one else can continue the work. Because without that, they don't have a chance of replicating that technology.
Yeah.
They like I think what's happening in like the inner workings is that Dyson is close to a breakthrough, and they need to kill him and destroy the research before that can happen. Because once you have that breakthrough, it's all uphill from a technological standpoint and all downhill from a narrative standpoint.
Yeah. And the T-1000 is able to track them by going to Dyson's house and seeing that they got started with what he had there. And then just goes, well, obviously they're at Cyberdyne finishing the job.
Yep.
That's how he catches up to them, which is like, I made a note, like, this is like kind of like my one little critique of the movie. It's like, it just feels like a little too much gap compared to the first one, where it's like true wall-to-wall slasher film, constantly
Sure.
running from the slasher. That like we've just diverged from it a little long. I'm like, oh yeah, that guy when he comes back, you know?
Yeah, they needed to take a breath,
Yeah.
and they needed to get a little bit of exposition in, just
Yeah.
to be like, by the way, the stakes are still really high, but we're not getting chased at the moment,
Mhm.
because they did throw the T-1000 off their trail when they went to Mexico,
Right.
which is it's encouraging that maybe it's not an infallible, it's not perfect, the T-1000, but it's just got so many more especially with its cop like facade. The T-1000 has every resource at his disposal,
Yeah.
and sometimes the only thing you need to do is just get off the grid.
Right.
Don't turn the phone off.
So I'm still thinking about like in the sequence of infiltrating Cyberdyne and the cops and the T-1000 all circling in on them. The next thing I kind of like take note of is Miles's death after they've like set everything up to detonate.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there with the detonator, and like, I'm not sure how long I can hold this thing to like try to let the cops get away?
He doesn't want to be responsible. Dyson's not a killer. He's a scientist. He doesn't want to be responsible for the death of like a dozen SWAT officers for whatever reason.
And don't they just waste him anyway?
No.
I forget.
No. The
cops.
cops assess the situation. Like Dyson's like he's been shot when they busted in,
Mhm.
and he's bleeding out, and he's holding the detonator over like an actuating like switch, and the SWAT officers are like coming in the room, and his the rhythm and cadence of his labored breathing always rang as very sexual to me.
Oh, I was like, it's perfectly unsettling in my opinion.
I'm not.
So I don't know what kind of sex you're having.
I'm not being
no
horny right
judgment.
now, but I think there's like some like association with like death and sex.
Yeah.
Sex and violence.
Yeah.
Like the exploited. But no, so Dyson's like, I don't think I can hold on to this very much longer. And the SWAT, they're like, oh, I know what he's talking about. And then they just clear out.
Yeah.
So because I don't think Sarah kills anybody besides the orderly in her in the institution. And it's not 100% certain that she actually killed him, but like she like really fucks him up.
Whacks him pretty hard with a busted thing. I think it's just like I think it's just very well done. How
It's incredible.
Unnerving watching like the light go out in his eyes, and then that's what causes the detonation to go off.
Yeah.
Is that we see like, oh, both the man and the research are gone now. But they still have the chip and the arm to deal with.
Yeah, it's almost like, shouldn't you have just left it in there when you blew it up? But
I don't. Did they say that? Do they have a separate plan for those?
I think it's just like the cops came too quickly for their plan to really go to accordingly.
Yeah, and I think of it as like they want to destroy them in a fashion that they can be certain that like an explosion might not guarantee. An explosion will destroy all the computer hard drives. It'll destroy all the paperwork, but will it destroy this future tech?
Sure
I
will.
think is a good
Yeah.
sort of explanation
That's a
for
good
why
point.
they take it with them.
They're like, no, next stop, we need to go to a lava factory.
yeah, which is kind of where things move along to.
Oh, but first we have the helicopter
yeah,
chase scene.
we've got a lot of chase and action left.
Yeah, and this is just like, I mean, this is why I like this movie, is because like you'd be like, what's the climax of this movie? It's just like I think the movie climaxes and it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
It's
it just
like
keeps
it climaxes in the first 10 minutes, and then you're just like, ugh!
Well, I think that's what I was getting at earlier with how long the T-1000's gone. This one does give you a breather in the middle,
that's
in the
true.
way the first one doesn't. But yeah, we start these chase scenes where, of course, we've got to like James Cameron just loves big trucks chasing each other.
Absolutely.
So we've got to get that to happen again. And like a thing I note is how the degree to which they show how careful the T-800 is not to kill, and that he's like taking damage as a result. Like he's willing to sacrifice his body, his robot body,
Of course.
like because he was directed like don't kill anybody. So he's like, well, I guess I got to take some hits to avoid killing. When he could have just walked out and mowed all these cops down.
And that's what he would have
Which he did
done
in
if
the first
John
movie.
if John had not told him to ease up on the killing. There would be a parking lot full of dead SWAT officers.
The only thing about this movie that's not as good as the first.
Yeah, that movie does kill 17 cops in like record time.
So yeah, then we begin all kinds of helicopter chase sequences, and so on.
Right. And so yeah, that goes from the gang steals a SWAT van with a bunch of M16s and body armor, and they're able to destroy the helicopter after Sarah gets shot a little bit. She gets pretty banged up in this movie.
Yeah. I mean, we transfer between multiple transports.
They steal the flour
in
truck.
this chase scene. That again, I just want to reiterate, like James Cameron's sense of a semi truck barreling down on a target is so just like keenly dialed in these films. And like, I don't know if there's a semi in True Lies, but I remember like the helicopter that like lines up and fires on that building. Like
It's a jet, actually.
the awe of like machinery like barreling down on people.
Yeah.
It's just something James, I mean the Titanic sinking, you know, it's just like
Sure.
he has a very keen eye for this that
It's, I
was very prevalent in the 90s.
I've got Titanic on VHS as well, and like it's very funny because it's a double tape box.
Yeah, of course.
And the first tape,
The first double tape like everybody owned. You
yeah,
know?
probably. The first tape is all just, falling in love and banging in a car and dancing on your tippy toes and all that Titanic stuff. And then, well, no, and all that lovey-dovey stuff. Then the second tape is just like, ah! It's funny. It's
I need
like
to rewatch that movie.
sometimes I'm like, having a nice night in with the wife, and I'm like, hey, you want to put on tape 2 of Titanic real quick? Just like really kill the vibe.
So anyway, the chase scene eventually, of course, it ends in a lava factory.
Well, it's interesting because the first movie, the T-800 is destroyed, or at least incapacitated by an explosion, right? Where it's then crawling after Sarah and doing all that. And in this case, and so that's fire.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's ice, or what is
Liquid
it called?
nitrogen,
Liquid
dude.
nitrogen. And
I think this movie's also like gave liquid nitrogen a like pop culture moment among young boys of like, I like you imagine you're playing guns in the yard as we did, and like I throw liquid nitrogen at you, you're frozen. Yeah, so it's like as soon as you see that liquid nitrogen truck show up, like 2 minutes before it crashes, you go, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen to this liquid metal thing.
So cool.
And it's mostly done just so that we can have some cool like visual effects spectacle.
Yeah, they did some like magnetized mercury to get that effect.
Yeah, but I mean it does create throughout like the remainder of the film so much just like masterful playfulness of light between like reds and blues.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful
contrasting
movie.
each other throughout this whole sequence that I love.
Fire and ice.
Yeah.
That's what you get with me.
Yeah. And that then becomes basically the rest of the movie is the chase scene through the molten lava factory.
Yeah. I guess it's smelting. I don't know. If you smelt it, you dealt it, right, baby?
They're doing something metal smelty in this factory.
Yeah.
And I don't. Is there anything particularly exciting about?
Oh yes.
This
Okay.
part that
So
we need to.
the T-1000 corners Sarah Connor after chasing disabling the T-800. He like impales it with a pipe and like it seemingly kills Arnold. And then the T-800 corners Sarah and it stabs her through a different arm. Sarah gets stabbed and slashed a couple of times and shot. She really does get banged up in this movie. And the T-800 or T-1000 tells Sarah, call out to John. And Sarah won't do it because she's a good mom. But then the T-1000 steals her identity. And
Oh yes.
did you know that Linda Hamilton has a twin sister?
That's who plays
Mhm.
the double, right?
That's the second set of twins that you see in this movie, because the other one was the redheaded security guard at the institute.
Yeah.
When he sees himself after drinking the coffee
Uh-huh.
and he gets killed by the T-1000, that's another set of twins
Yeah.
in this movie.
One tiny thing that bothers me before we get to that is the chase through here where the T-1000 walks casually.
Why does he
towards
walk?
them.
We know he can run.
Yeah. It's I get why, tension building, etc., but it does raise that stupid like cinema sins. Why isn't he running? Which, I guess we could chalk up to like he was just melted and reassembled.
Hey, good
It
point.
could be
Yeah, maybe
like
he's
just
reprogramming right
got,
now.
yeah,
He's
got
doing a little
rebuild for
reboot.
minute. But yeah, there's that scene where
The T-800 ostensibly is killed and then brought back to life through the power of Christ.
yeah, what else happens here?
I mean, it's really just like a showdown with the final boss, and it's the T-1000 he's about to kill Sarah Connor, but then the T-800 saves her, gets destroyed, comes back to life, shoots the T-1000 with a grenade, and then they push it into the lava.
Yeah.
And then it's fun to see the T-1000 just kind of like shifting through all of the different forms it stole as it's melting. And then the T-800 is just like, now, okay. They throw in the chip, they throw in the arm, and then John's like, it's finally over. And and Arnold's just like, no, still me. Like I'm the problem now. Like we need to destroy me. And he says an interesting thing that I cannot self-terminate. I need you to push the button.
Yeah.
Which I think it's again like because there's a lot of Christian dogma in this, and I do think that like it makes sense like the law of robotics that like there's a pre-programmed self-preservation like protocol, but in other words, like suicide being a sin is I think relevant to that the discussion with James Cameron's intentions here.
Yeah.
And it needs to be John and Sarah that kill the Terminator at the end because he represents more than just being a killer robot. He also represents like I think he's proof that they're adaptable, that they can find an ally in what they thought was an enemy, and that they're like, he's like, maybe not all robots are bad. I don't know I don't know, but it's got to be he can't kill himself. He can't just like jump into the lava.
Yeah.
But they press the button. He's dramatically lowered into the lava, and then we get the famous thumbs up, which is like he's like. It's an interesting. It's like, okay, how much does the Terminator actually care about John Connor and Sarah Connor?
Yeah. Well, this is the question I raised earlier.
Yeah.
Is in this style of machine learning, what's the line between actual emotion and performance of emotion that you are replicating?
Yeah. Yeah.
And this suggests like there might be some there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Is that like saying that like the technology can become so sophisticated that it will eventually grow a conscience and a heart?
Yeah. which is its own like scary thing to warn us about.
It's very Star Trek Next Generation, like a Data episode.
Yeah.
Where it's just like that they always go into that like Pinocchio conundrum with Data, where he's like his only quote unquote like desire is to experience humanity from the inside.
Yeah. And like it's like you see the T-800, it's like it hugs John Beck very authentically. Is that all performance based on Data, or is there some level of emotion that's been reached? And it's played in the film as ostensibly like a good thing that a robot has evolved this much.
Sure.
Suggesting maybe we could come to a world of caring robots. It's like thematically kind of similar to Mega Man in some ways. Granted, like Mega Man isn't as serious as this, but that's kind of like the theme that it plays with. Is Dr. Light like built robots for good, and Dr. Wily manipulates that. And how can we, if we insist on this technology, how can we manage to make it kind? And do we live in a world where we would make that choice? And it's like, if this Terminator had not run into John Connor and Sarah Connor, he would have been a Terminator. His job would have been terminating.
Yeah.
And now he can love.
Good point. And campers, if you want to listen to us talk a lot about Mega Man, I'll link that below. We got a couple banger episodes there.
Yeah, there's some good ones actually.
That's a fun one. Okay, and then that's it. They kill the T-800. And then they go to jail for the rest of their lives. Like, what happens to them next?
Probably. I mean,
they probably go back to Mexico, I would assume.
Yeah. I forget what is shown. Did we just roll credits when he goes down there? I forget. No, really, what does happen?
Let's find out together.
I'm just gonna scroll ahead because I don't remember.
That's it.
Oh, we get the
no fate but what we make for ourselves.
Exactly, and then roll credits.
Yeah.
So it's left quite open, which to James Cameron's point, it's like, I said what I needed to say. It's all there on the page. You don't need a third one. Like, what happens to John Connor and Sarah Connor doesn't matter. The story was about stopping the war, you know?
Yeah. And
I
guess
ostensibly stopped based on all sort of threads and loops that have now been closed by this movie.
There's this ends on a hopeful note. It seems that like through what they did, if James Cameron says so, then they stopped the war. They saved the world. And no one's thanking them because they're like, I guess Sarah Connor's a anti-hero of sorts.
Absolutely. One of the best of all time.
Yeah. And it's really a thankless job saving the world.
Yeah. And I mean, the last scene being the road going by suggests like, okay, they're on the run, right?
You gotta be after what they did.
And like, that's their life now. It's like, that's the compromise they get between stopping future war and living the life she had before the Terminator showed up in the first one. Is that like, the war is stopped, but your life is never going to go back because you had to do too much to stop it that no one's going to understand.
Yeah. It's its own set of sacrifices.
You were never going to be thanked for what you did.
Yeah.
No one's going to know that you saved the world from nuclear annihilation in a war of robots murdering everybody's left. So good luck out there, kid. A woman is never thanked for her work.
It's a thankless job being the mother of the rebellion.
Being the mother of humanity.
Yeah.
You're just going to be outcast. Again, it sort of, I guess, reflects her as the Mary figure.
Of course.
Mary was this poor ostracized woman who was not accepted by polite society, so much so that she had to take up in a manger to have the Christ figure.
Mm-hmm. JC, John Connor. Hey, it's a point. It does
feel a little on the nose.
It's brought up. It's just like paranoia.
Right.
Delusions of grandeur.
So is there anything I missed? I mean, again, from the top, it's just like, this is the most movie-ass movie.
It freaking rocks, dude. It's so legit. It's lit.
Show your kids Terminator 2, you know?
Yeah, dude. I kind of want to watch Terminator 3 now.
I kind of don't.
I just want to see the naked Terminator, lady Terminator.
Oh, there's a naked lady Terminator.
Have you not seen it?
Never mind. I mean, no, I told you, like, this is canon to me. That's it. This is the Terminator universe. Is this the few Super Nintendo games that came out at the time, which I'll talk about
Next time.
a little bit next time with the game we're going to talk about.
Yeah. Campers, Terminator 2. Ever heard of it? Pretty good.
Yeah, I what else is there to say?
Not much. I think that'll do it for this week.
Yeah.
Campers, let us know in the comments. Is Terminator 3 a good follow-up to this incredible movie? Tell me why it's not.
James Cameron's not involved. End of story. End of argument. Try to prove me wrong.
Would you vote Arnold Schwarzenegger for governor after watching this movie?
Because a lot of people would.
Yep,
It's the same.
Sure happened.
The same they would vote for a TV game show host only 15 years later or whatever.
Oh boy.
All right. We're having fun out here. Stay safe. And all
Gotta
that good
laugh
stuff.
to keep from crying.
Anything else? That's
Nope.
the end. Let's get
The end
out
of the
here.
world.
Good stuff.
Okay, bye campers.
If you'd like to write to us, send a message to campvideogames@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram @campvideogames. If you want to become a real happy camper, you can support Camp Video Games on Patreon. For $5 a month, you'll be granted access to even more discussions about movie-based video games, game-based movies, full-length commentaries, playthroughs, and more. Whether you sign up or not, we're glad to have you here at Camp Video Games.